Hello and welcome back to WarPsyche, where we explore the incredible resilience of the human spirit in the midst of conflict. Today, we're rediving deep into a story that often gets lost in the grand narratives of battles and strategies. It's a story not about taking lives, but about saving them. A testament to the quiet heroes whose courage shone brightest in the darkest of times. Imagine this. It's the winter of 1944. The Battle of the Bulge is raging. Snow blankets the Ardennes forest in a thick, unforgiving layer. Temperatures have plummeted to bone-chilling lows. For the soldiers of the American 101st Airborne Division, surrounded in the besieged town of Bastogne, the situation is dire. They are low on ammunition, food, and, most critically, medical supplies. Wounded men lie in makeshift aid stations, their lives hanging by a thread, not just from their injuries, but from the simple lack of plasma, bandages, and sulfur drugs. In this frozen hell, a decision was made. A mission, seemingly impossible, was devised. A small group of volunteers would need to break through enemy lines, brave the treacherous, snow-covered terrain, and reach a forward aid station that had been cut off for days. Among these volunteers was a medic, a private first-class we'll call Leo, a young man from Ohio who had never imagined the horrors he would face. Leo wasn't a frontline combatant in the traditional sense. His weapon was a medical kit, his mission to mend, not to break. But on this day, his role demanded the courage of any infantryman, and then some. His pack wasn't filled with grenades or extra ammunition. It was laden with precious vials of penicillin, morphine, and life-saving blood plasma. Each item was worth more than gold. Each step he took was a gamble against enemy patrols, sniper fire, and the relentless, biting cold that seeped into his bones. As Leo and his small team set out under the cover of a pre-dawn sky, the forest was anything but silent. The distant crump of artillery was a constant drumbeat, and the snap of a twig underfoot could mean the difference between life and death. They moved slowly, cautiously, their breath crystallizing in the frigid air. They knew German patrols were everywhere, hunting for any sign of American movement. The weight of the medical supplies was a physical burden, but the weight of responsibility was even heavier. Leo knew that for every minute they were delayed, a soldier's chance of survival diminished. This wasn't a mission for glory. There would be no medals for this specific trek, no headlines in the papers back home. This was a mission born from pure necessity and a profound sense of duty to one's comrades. It highlights a side of war we often forget, the immense logistical and emotional struggle to care for the wounded. While generals moved divisions on a map, medics like Leo fought their own battles. One patient at a time, often with little more than courage and whatever supplies they could carry on their backs. Hours into their journey, disaster struck. The sharp crack of a rifle shot echoed through the trees. A sniper, the team scattered, diving for cover behind fallen logs and snowdrifts. One of the men cried out, hit in the leg. Instantly, Leo's training took over. While others returned fire to suppress the sniper, Leo lockrolled through the snow to his fallen comrade. Under the threat of another shot, he worked quickly, applying a tourniquet and dressing the wound. He administered a dose of morphine from the very pack he was trying to deliver. A cruel irony of their predicament. The team was now compromised. They were down a man, and the enemy knew their position. The logical choice might have been to retreat, to save themselves. But retreat wasn't an option. The aid station was still miles away, and the men there were counting on them. Looking at the precious cargo in his pack, and then at his wounded friend, Leo made a choice that defined his character. They couldn't leave anyone behind. Working together, They fashioned a makeshift stretcher and began the arduous task of carrying their wounded teammate while still pushing forward. Every step was a struggle. The added weight slowed them down, making them a more vulnerable target. The physical exertion was immense, their lungs burning from the cold air, their muscles screaming in protest. Yet they pressed on, driven by an unspoken pact. They were brothers in arms, and they would succeed or fail together. This is the human side of war. It's not just about tactics and firepower. It's about the soldier who risks his life for the man next to him. It's about the medic who sees not just a casualty, but a person, a brother, a son, a husband who deserves a fighting chance. It's in these moments of extreme adversity that the true nature of courage is revealed. It's not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it, fueled by compassion and a deep-seated humanity. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they saw it. A tattered Red Cross flag hanging from a barn, the makeshift aid station. They had made it. Stumbling inside, exhausted and frostbitten, they were met with a scene of organized chaos. Overwhelmed surgeons and orderlies were doing their best with dwindling resources. The arrival of Leo and his team was like a miracle. The relief on the chief surgeon's face was immediate and profound. As Leo unpacked the supplies, handing over the plasma and penicillin, it was as if he were delivering hope itself. Those supplies would be used within minutes, stabilizing critically wounded soldiers, preventing infections, and easing unimaginable pain. The lives saved that day were a direct result of the Team's incredible bravery and Leo's unwavering resolve. He didn't fire a single shot at the enemy, but his actions were as heroic as any charge on a battlefield. Leo's story is just one of thousands from World War II. It represents the countless medics, stretcher-bearers, and doctors who worked tirelessly behind the front lines. They were the ones who held a soldier's hand as he took his last breath. The ones who performed surgery by flashlight in a muddy trench. The ones who carried the emotional scars of the men they couldn't save. Their courage was not in the taking of life, but in the desperate, heroic struggle to preserve it. When we study war, it's crucial to remember these stories. They remind us that even in the midst of unimaginable chaos and destruction, acts of profound compassion and humanity can flourish. These are the stories that show us the true cost of conflict, not just in numbers, but in the individual struggles for survival and dignity. Leo and his comrades remind us that the strongest weapon in any war can sometimes be the will to save another human being. Thank you for joining us on WarPsyche to honor this incredible story of bravery and compassion. The heroes of war are not always the ones with the most medals, but often the ones with the biggest hearts. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more true stories that reveal the powerful human side of conflict. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and remember the courage found in compassion.